So as a speaker, perhaps you are already committed to the idea of connecting to your audiences through great stories. But maybe your stories aren't connecting at quite the level that you'd like. If that sounds familiar, then this video is especially for you. As an executive speaking coach, what I find when people are not getting the right kind of response from their stories, 9 times out of 10, it's because they're selling their audience and themselves a bit short. What do I mean? What I mean is that oftentimes you'll see what I call the drive-by story. A drive-by story is kind of a wishy-washy commitment to a story which doesn't amount to much, where you give somebody a top line, here's what happened, bang, 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 and the story is over before you started. So last week I went to take a train from Dublin to a place called Athy in Ireland, and when I got to the ticket counter where you had to put your ticket in, I saw that the train was miles away, and I was furious because it was going to take quite a long time and we only had a few moments before that train was due to leave. So technically speaking, that's a story, but honestly, it's nowhere near as good as it could be. Let me give you a different version of the same story. So I went to Euston Station in Dublin recently, taking a train down to a place called Athy in Ireland, had my ticket, went along to where you put your ticket in and looked up to see where my platform was supposed to be, and I can see that it's miles away. And as I'm going down there realizing I've not got long before that train leaves, there was an elderly woman beside me, nigh on 80. Her name was Hannah, and she was livid. The folks, they're always doing that. Do they expect us to walk to Waterford? Well, as she was fuming, there was another fellow who was coming up beside us at a reasonable clip, almost as old as Hannah, and he had a Zimmer frame, except it was one of those little trolley type things. And he said to her, well, that's true, but at least we'll get some exercise. Hannah looked back at me and she said, isn't it interesting how some people can always see the good? He could see that this glass was only half full instead of half empty. The difference between the first and the second version of that story is that when you bring in characters, when you bring in context, when you bring in opportunities for your audience to feel they can identify with the situation at a heightened level, they're much more likely to invest into it and to enjoy it. So here's the thing, folks. Don't shortchange your audience with fly-by stories. Make sure that you invite them in. You'll enjoy it more, they will too, and guess what? Everybody's better off.